morning. I am calling to order the House Committee on Labor. It is Tuesday, February 10th, 2026, 9:30 a.m. We're in conference room 309. First on the agenda, we have HB 2165 relating to the Hawaii Employment Security Law. This amends the qualifications for unemployed individuals who are able to receive unemployment benefits beginning April 1st, 2027, removes the 2-year limitation of the recoupment of overpayments. Beginning April 1st, 2027, the Department of Labor and Industrial Relations to assess and collect a service charge for dishonored employment insurance assessments. Beginning April 1st, 2027, specifies that employers must report separation and wage information within 5 calendar days of notice being sent, whether by mail or electronic notification. Beginning April 1st, 2027, increases the penalty for failure to report separations or wages and for failure to file or for filing insufficient quarterly wage reports. First to testify on this measure, we have Director Jade Tai from DLIR in support.
Good morning, Chair Sayama, Vice Chair Lee. I'm Jade Butai, Director of the Department of Labor and Industrial Relations. Thank you for hearing this bill. We stand on our testimony in strong support. This measure strengthens the integrity of the unemployment insurance program, conforms with federal guidance, and improves operation. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other persons here to testify on this measure? On Zoom? Seeing none, members, we do have written testimony in opposition from University of Hawaii Professionals Assembly. Members, any questions? Seeing none. We'll be moving on to HB 2324 relating to the Hawaii Occupational Safety and Health Law, repeals the Hoisting Machine Operators Advisory Board and its rules requiring a separate state crane operator certificate, and allows additional time for the Director of Labor and Industrial Relations to complete an investigation of a discharge or discrimination complaint pertaining to employees exercising rights under the Occupational Safety and Health Law without formal extension. First to testify, we have Dr. Jade Butai, DLIR in support.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, Jade Butai for DLIR. I'm sorry, we stand on our testimony in strong support, and thank you for hearing this administration bill. We've had productive meetings with the operating engineers, and we came to an agreement that the Hoisting Machine Operators Advisory Board is a duplicative requirement. This bill also updates whistleblower investigation timelines to align with federal standards, allowing adequate time for complex investigation while providing clear expectations for employees and employers. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other persons here to testify on this measure? Seeing none, members, any questions? Seeing none. We'll be moving on to HB 2271, making emergency appropriations for public employment cost items. This makes emergency appropriations for collective bargaining unit cost items for the members of bargaining units 1 and 10 and their excluded counterparts to resolve issues related to temporary hazard pay for fiscal year 25-26. First to testify on this measure, we have Director Tommy Johnson from Department of Corrections and Rehabilitations in support. Not here. Moving on, we have Executive Director Hakeem, Owan Safi from the Hawaii Public Housing Authority in support.
HPHA standards testimony.
Thank you. Next we have Dr. Seth Colby from Budget and Finance in support.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair. My name is Seth Colby, Director of Budget and Finance. The Department of Budget and Finance supports this administration's proposal or similar bill as collective bargaining negotiations regarding this issue of temporary hazard pay are currently in progress, and additional appropriations are needed for both an agreement and arbitration awards. We expect this information to be available to us in several weeks, in which case we will be supplying you the numbers. And we are available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Russell Fong from Department of Law Enforcement in support.
Deputy Director and Chabella from the TW for Russell Fong. We stand on written testimony in support. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Acting Chairperson Ryan Tanakaole from Department of Land and Natural Resources in support. Not here. Okay, next we have Comptroller Keith Reagan from DAGS in support.
Next stands on is written testimony and support.
Thank you. Next we have VP for BNF, Luis Alveria for University of Hawaii Systems and support.
Hi, good morning. Mike Waiting for Luis. Luis stands on his testimony and support.
Thank you. Next we have Kamakana Kaimuloa, UPW and support.
Tue Feb, on behalf of UPW, standing in our honor testimony and strong support.
Thank you. Are there any other persons here to testify on this measure? On Zoom? Okay, seeing none. Members, we have written testimony and support from Department of Health, Department of Agriculture and Biosecurity, Hawaii State Public Library Systems, Hawaii State Department of Education, also in support. Members, any questions? Seeing none, we'll be moving on to HB 2272, making emergency appropriations for public employment cost items. This makes emergency appropriations for collective bargaining cost items for the members of Bargaining Unit 11 and their excluded counterparts, including the costs of salary adjustments negotiated between the state and the bargaining unit representative for fiscal biennium 25-27. First to testify on this measure, we have Dr. Seth Colby from Budget and Finance and Support.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair. The Department of Budget and Finance supports this administration proposal or similar bills for collective bargaining negotiations. This bill, HB 2272, is for bargaining unit 11, and the next bill, HB 2273 for bargaining unit 14, is also part of this. The collective bargaining negotiations are currently under negotiation, and once they are fulfilled and finalized, we will be providing you with the numbers.
Thank you. Any other persons here to testify on this measure, here or in person, here on Zoom? Seeing none, members, any questions? Seeing none, we'll be moving on to HB 2273, making emergency appropriations for public employment cost items. Makes emergency appropriations for collective bargaining cost items for members of Bargaining Unit 14 and their excluded counterparts, including the cost of salary adjustments negotiated between the state and the bargaining unit representative for fiscal biennium 25-27. First to testify, we have Dr. Seth Colby from the Department of Budget, Finance, and Support.
BNF stands on its written testimony.
Thank you. Next, we have Executive Dr. Randy Ferrer for HGEA and support.
Luis Abbas for HGA. We'll stand on our testimony and support. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other persons here to testify on this measure or on Zoom? Seeing none, members, any questions? Seeing none, we'll be moving on to HB 1661 relating to cafeteria plans. This specifies that the maximum contribution and carryover amounts for a public service flexible spending account plan shall be set in accordance with the annual limits prescribed by the Internal Revenue Service for cafeteria plans. First to testify, we have Dr. Brenna Hashimoto from DHERD with comments.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair. Brenna Hashimoto here from DHERD. We are standing on our written testimony, providing comments and a couple of amendments for clarity and consistency, and available to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Dr. Nola, we have Kamakana Kaimuloa, UPW in support.
Tue Feb, on behalf of UPW, standing on our written testimony in strong support.
Thank you. Next we have Randy Perra, Executive Director from HGA in support.
Chair, Vice Chair, members, Luis Abbas for HGA. We're in strong support of this measure and we'll stand on our written testimony. I just do want to kind of point out that there's a $650 difference between what the IRS prescribes for the medical FSA and what is currently within administrative rules. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Tax Foundation of Hawaii with comments on Zoom.
Not present.
Not present. Any other persons here to testify on this measure? If not, members, we do have written testimony with comments from City and County of Honolulu, Department of Human Resources. Okay, members, any questions? Okay, I do have a question for Dr. Hashimoto. So HG noted the difference between of $600 or so. Can you kind of explain that difference and why that exists?
So currently, the amounts that employees can contribute to this plan are set by administrative rule. And so it's, I think most of you folks know, updating administrative rules is pretty tedious and takes quite a while. So DHER typically amends amends the amount every 4 to 5 years. We don't do it every year. And the IRS does typically increase the rates annually. So that's why there's a delay and a lag between what is currently allowable by IRS and what our rules provide. But we also do take somewhat of a conservative approach, because anytime somebody elects to contribute a certain amount, even though those deductions are spread out over an entire fiscal year, they can recoup the monies, or they can ask for their reimbursement as soon as they make their first contribution. So if they were to leave state service before they make all of their contributions, the plan has to eat that cost. So I provided in our testimony the forfeiture rates, and as you noticed, 2 years ago, there were actually more negative forfeitures than actual forfeitures in the plan. So we do try to be fiscally conservative in the amounts that we allow employees to contribute for that reason.
Okay, thank you. No further questions. Any other questions? Seeing none, we'll be moving on to HB 1659 relating to collective bargaining. This repeals a prohibition placed on certain employees exempt from civil service law from grieving, suspension, or discharge. Allows any employee who is a member of an appropriate bargaining unit to grieve any disciplinary action. First to testify on this measure, we have Dr. Brenna Hashimoto from DHER in opposition.
DHER is opposed to this measure because it's inconsistent with exempt employees' status as at will. We don't believe this is appropriate. We also would like the committee to know that there are already protections in place in terms of state and federal law that prohibit discrimination. And also, we believe that this measure is contrary to collective bargaining. There are current provisions in the BU 3, 4, 13, and 14 contracts which address exempt employees' right to grieve a suspension or discharge. So we believe that it's inappropriate to utilize the legislative process to address matters which the parties have already determined is a negotiable subject. And we would like to keep it that way. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. Next we have Kamakana Kaimulua from UPW in support.
Tue Feb on behalf of UPW, standing on our written testimony and strong support.
Thank you. Next we have Randy Perez, Executive Director for HGA in support.
Chair, Vice Chair Member, Nui Sebas for HGA. We're strong supporters of this measure and we'll stand on our testimony. I do just want to note that from 2020 till today, there's been about a 600 position increase in exempt positions, and we believe that is due to our state's slow civil service hiring times and also our state's refusal to increase civil service pay. We did request an amendment to clarify that this be collectively bargained as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other persons here to testify on this measure? Seeing none, members, we do have written testimony in opposition from City and County of Honolulu, Department of Human Resources, support from HSTA, support from UPA. That's it. Okay, members, any questions? Seeing none, we'll be moving on to HB 1655 relating to public employment. This allows public employers and exclusive representatives of bargaining units to negotiate certain retirement benefits. First to testify on this measure, we have Dr. Seth Colby from BNF in opposition.
BNF strongly opposes this bill and stands on this written testimony.
Thank you. Next we have Chief Negotiator Musto from Office of Collective Bargaining in opposition.
Thank you, Chair Suyama and Vice Chair Lee. My name is J.N. Musto. I'm the state's chief negotiator. We are in opposition to this bill because it actually crosses over a fine line that the state of Hawaii has laid down since 1970 with the inception of collective bargaining in the public sector, by separating out the ERS and to some extent EUTF from negotiations. The other point that I would like to make is this bill refers to interest arbitration. I would point out to you that bargaining units 1, 5, and 7 do not have interest arbitration. They have the right to strike as their impasse resolution mechanism. If you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Thank you. Next, we have Executive Calvert Young, Executive Director for the Employee Retirement System, in opposition.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, Representative. The Board of Trustees for the Employee Retirement System has not officially taken a position on this bill yet. However, based on a similar bill that was introduced in a previous session, the position was to oppose this measure. Allowing for retirement calculation administration and benefits through the collective bargaining process could potentially be catastrophic to the overall administration. It would create unnecessary complexities, and more importantly, we believe it also would have some consequence for the Internal Revenue Code, the significance of which is to ensure the pension system for the state, it actually continues to have its tax exempt status. So for all these reasons, the ERS opposes this measure. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Kaimuloa, UPW, in support.
Tue Feb on behalf of UPW, standing on a written testimony in strong support for this measure.
Thank you. Next, we have Randy Pereira, Executive Director for HGA, in support.
HGA will stand in support.
Thank you. Any other persons here to testify on this measure or on Zoom? Seeing none, members, we do have written testimony in support from HSTA and UPA. Members, any questions on this measure? Seeing none, we'll be moving on to HB 1658 related to collective bargaining. This amends the collective bargaining negotiation procedures on the repricing of classes within a bargaining unit for public employees, establishes an impasse procedure to be applied when an employer fails to initiate the negotiation or the parties fail to reach an agreement within certain timeframes, repeals existing law that requires a different impasse procedure to apply in those situations, sunsets June 30th, 2029. First to testify on this measure, we have Brenna Hashimoto, Doctor for DHERD, in opposition.
Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee, Brenna Hashimoto here from DHERD. We oppose this measure because repricing is a highly technical analysis. It requires highly skilled individuals with technical analysis and training in this area, and we don't believe that arbitrators are the appropriate avenue to determine pricing issues. We would also like to point out that having disparate arbitration decisions would lead to situations where we would not be able to comply with 76-1, which requires equal pay for equal work. We also are concerned about the unfairness that this would present to our employees. In lieu of having this alternate impasse procedure, we would recommend that the committee consider having our Merit Appeals Board hear repricing requests, and we've offered some amended language for your consideration. I'm available to answer any questions.
Thank you. Next, we have Kamakana Kaimuloa, UPW, in support.
Tue Feb on behalf of UPW, standing on a written testimony in strong support.
Thank you. Next, we have Randy Pereira, Executive Director, HGA, in support.
Chair, Vice Chair, members, Nui Sebas for HGA. We're in strong support of this measure. In 2024, the legislature established Act 234, which codified repricing process and also codified that repricing is negotiable. The current interest arbitration procedure is structured and intended for and used when the employer and the exclusive representative must reach a resolution for a new collective bargaining agreement. What's proposed in this measure, we believe, is much more efficient and also, I guess, appropriate for repricing of positions. We also requested amendments as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other persons here to testify on this measure? Seeing none. Members, we do have written testimony and support from HSTA. Members, any questions on this measure? Okay. Seeing none, we'll be moving on to HB 1664 relating to the Hawaii Employer Union Health Benefits Trust Fund. This allows impasses and disputes relating to the amounts of state and county contributions to the Hawaii Employer Union Health Benefits Trust Fund to be resolved by arbitration. Repeals the prohibition against strikes by members of bargaining units on the issues of the amounts of state and county contributions to the trust fund. First to testify on this measure, we have Seth Colby, Director for BNF, in opposition.
Chair, Vice Chair, DNF opposes this bill and stands on its written testimony.
Thank you. Next, we have Chief Negotiator J.N. Musto from the Office of Collective Bargaining in opposition. Here. Okay, next, we have Dr. Brenna Hashimoto from DHERD with comments.
DHERD will stand on its written testimony, providing comments.
Okay, thank you. Next, we have Kamakana Kaimuloa, UPW, in support.
Tue Feb on behalf of UPW, standing on a written testimony in strong support.
Okay, next we have Randy Pereira, Executive Director for HGA, in support.
Chair, Vice Chair, members, Tue Feb for HGA. We'll stand on our testimony and support, but I just do want to note that this current negotiable item does lack a dispute mechanism to address the employee-employer share of contributions to medical premium plans. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other persons here to testify on this measure? Seeing none, members, we do have written testimony and support from HSTA and UPA. Members, any questions? Okay. Seeing none, we'll be moving on to HB 1656 relating to indebtedness to the state, amends the amount that a disbursing officer may deduct from an employer's salary, wage, or compensation base on the employee's gross income. First to testify on this measure, we have Comptroller Keith Reagan from DAGS with comments. Here. Okay, next we have Stacy Aldrich, State Librarian from the Hawaii State Public Library System with comments.
The library system stands on its written testimony.
Thank you. Next we have Kamakana Kaimuloa, UPW, in support.
Tue Feb on behalf of UPW, standing on a written testimony in strong support.
Thank you. Next we have Randy Pereira, Executive Director for HGA, in support.
Chair, Vice Chair, members, Tue Feb for HGA. We're in strong support of this measure. We appreciate the intent, which would frankly just establish a more lenient process when employees overpaid. We understand that mistakes do happen, but it is unacceptable to have a strict repayment plan that may subject employees to financial hardship. The statute should be more lenient to repay the balance, and our members, they're not asking for these overpayments, and they will pay the balance back. But many of them just ask for just a more tolerable structure. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other persons here to testify on this measure? Seeing none, members, we do have written testimony from City and County of Honolulu, Department of Budget and Fiscal Service with comments. People in support. Members, any questions? I have a question for libraries.
Special Assistant to the State Librarian.
Thank you for providing testimony. In your written testimony, you kind of describe in more detail how these overpayments occur. Can you kind of elaborate on that?
Sure. Many times the overpayments are, it's the result of leave without pay. Employees have long-term illnesses. They have personnel issues, and they don't have any paid leave balance. So specific to what I think is in our testimony, we asked that the committee consider language that would have the conversion of lag employees to after the fact if they have LWOP. Because when you look at the state payroll schedule, the deadline to submit to prevent an overpayment from occurring in the first payroll period for the 1st to the 15th of the month. The deadline to submit is usually around the 8th, 9th, 10th of the month before the payroll period is actually ended. So in some cases, employees are in and out of work because of health reasons, personnel issues. We don't know on the 8th of the month whether they're going to be at work between the 9th and the 15th. So I'm not sure if there's a software issue that could be addressed to do that, but that's how the state payroll's calendar works out. So for those lag employees, what happens is for the 1st to the 15th payroll period, they're paid on the 20th of the month. After the fact, employees are paid the following 5th of the month, the following month on the 5th day. So there's enough time for the staff to do the adjustments that need to occur. But you can't do it in the middle of a payroll period when the payroll period hasn't even finished.
So you're saying just logistically, it's almost impossible?
Impossible.
Okay.
And so therefore, the way the bill is drafted, we have to determine the total amount owed, but that for a lag employee, it's constantly moving if they're in and out of work. So it's hard to fix the number for a lag employee.
Okay, thank you. Members, any further questions? Seeing none, thank you. For HGA. So you just heard some of the comments made from Ms. Aldrich. So given these logistical challenges to the payment system, what do you think of their proposed amendment to convert some lag employees with limited paid leave hours to after the fact?
Chair, I'll need to take a look at their amendments and I can follow up with you on that.
Okay, sure. Thank you. Thank you. Members, any further questions? Seeing none, we'll be moving on to HB 1654. This is relating to public employees. This requires the Attorney General to establish a confidential process for persons to anonymously file complaints against the public employees. It requires the Attorney General to review and forward the complaints to the department, board, commission, or agency deemed appropriate by the Attorney General. It requires the departments, board, commissions, and agencies to process the complaint pursuant to their standard complaint processing procedures and report the disposition to the Attorney General. Requires the Attorney General to adopt rules and submit annual reports to the legislature. First to testify on this measure, we have Deputy Attorney General Diana Samarana from the Department of Attorney General's Office in opposition.
Almost. Thank you.
Sorry about that.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, as well as members of the committee. Deputy Attorney General Diana Sumarna. We did submit our testimony opposing the bill, so that way this bill can be more narrowly drawn to model the already existing statutory mandates. Which is to actually eliminate the anonymous complaints. Thank you, and I am available for questions.
Thank you. Next we have Randy Pereira, Executive Director for HGA and Support.
Chair, Vice Chair, members, Nui Sabas for HGEA. We're in support of this measure. We appreciate the intent, which is trying to strike a balanced process to ensure that there is some check against individuals that file baseless complaints, while also still preserving, while still protecting the anonymity of individuals that wish to file legitimately. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have Kamakana Kaimulo, UPW and Support.
Tue Feb on behalf of UPW, standing in a written testimony in support.
Thank you. Are there any other persons here to testify on this measure? Seeing none, members, we do have written testimony in support from Kaneohe Elementary School, DOE. Members, any questions? Seeing none, we'll be moving on to HB 1663 relating to reimbursement of public officers and employees. This requires the state or a county to reimburse an officer or employee for work-related travel costs that the officer or employee loaned to the state or a county within 30 calendar days of submitting an approved statement of completed travel. Requires a state or a county to pay interest on a loan not reimbursed within 30 days until the loan is fully reimbursed. Obligates an officer or employee to request a complete refund from the travel vendor for travel not taken. Entitles an officer or employee to reimbursement from the state or a county when a travel vendor offers no or a partial refund. First to testify on this measure, we have Bonnie Kakui, Administrator for the State Procurement Office, with comments on Zoom.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Bonnie Kahakoi, Administrator, State Procurement Office. Will stand on a written testimony providing comments.
Thank you. Next we have Stacy Aldrich, State Librarian from the Hawaii State Public Library Systems, with comments.
Hawaii State Public Library System stands on written comments.
Thank you. Next we have Kamakana Kaimaloa, UPW, in support.
Tue Feb on behalf of UPW, standing on written testimony in support.
Thank you. Next we have Randy Perez, Executive Director, HGA, in support.
Chair, Vice Chair, members, we're in strong support of this measure and we'll stand on our testimony. A lot of our members, when they do take kind of work-approved travel, they do use their credit card or personal funds to pay for that trip. And a lot of times we get notified that they haven't been reimbursed in what we consider a timely manner. So we do appreciate kind of the intent of this measure. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any other persons here to testify on this measure? Seeing none, members, we do have written testimony and support from UPA. Members, any questions on this measure? Seeing none, we'll be moving on to HB 1791 relating to warehouse workers. This establishes the Warehouse Workers Protection Act, requires certain warehouse employers to provide written descriptions of quotas to employees and maintain records of quotas and employee work speed data. Protects employees from quotas that would prevent compliance with meal or rest periods or the use of bathroom facilities. Allows the employees to request a written description of their quota and employees' work speed data. Requires the Director of Labor and Industrial Relations to adopt rules to implement the provisions of this act. First to testify on this measure, we have Director Jade Butai from DLIR with comments.
Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair, and committee members. Jade Butai for DLIR. Will stand on our testimony.
Thank you. Next we have Deputy Attorney General Matthew Amdev with the Attorney General's Office with comments.
Good morning, Chairman, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Matthew Amdev, Deputy Attorney General. Thank you for the opportunity to provide comment. This bill establishes a new Hawaii Revised Statute chapter with a Section 10, which authorizes the Attorney General to prosecute cases arising from violations of the chapter. Because Hawaii Revised Statute Sections 20-1, 20-2, and 20-2.5 already provide the Attorney General broad prosecutorial powers for all cases involving violations of state law. We recommend that Section 10 be deleted to avoid the potential unintended effect of the bill being found to limit the Attorney General's power for violations under the chapter. Once again, thank you for the opportunity to provide testimony. I'll be available for any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other persons here to testify on this measure? Okay. Seeing none, members, any questions? Okay. Question for Dr. Butai. Director, you noted that in your written testimony that the provisions proposed in this bill would be very difficult to enforce. Can you elaborate on that challenge?
Well, there would be tracking, breaks separately for quota purposes. I mean, I don't think how do we enforce if the warehouses don't collect data on quota? So that would be challenging to enforce.
So would you require additional resources to gather that new data?
That would be correct.
I see. General estimate as to how many staff or resources that would require?
We haven't done any assessment how many we would need, but we'll get back to you.
Appreciate that. Thank you, Director. No further questions. Any members, any further questions on this measure? Seeing none, we'll be moving on to last item on the agenda, HB 2587 relating to labor. This clarifies the employment status of certain delivery drivers under the state laws related to workers' compensation, wage and hour, temporary disabilities insurance, family leave, tax classification of business relationships, and unemployment insurance by establishing conditions under which delivery drivers are deemed employees of the business operating the delivery program. First to testify on this measure, we have Dr. Jade Pataya from DLIR with comments.
Hello, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee, Jade Pataya for DLIR, testimony providing comment.
Thank you. Next we have Dave Erdman, Interim President and CEO for Retail Merchants Hawaii in opposition. On Zoom? Nope, okay. Any other persons here to testify on this measure? Members, any questions? Okay, we'll be taking a short recess. Okay, reconvene the House Committee on Labor for decision-making. First, we have HB 2165 relating to Hawaii Employment Security Law. For this, we'll be adopting the DLIR recommended amendments to adjust the penalty amount from $1,000 to $300. We'll also be inserting a defective date of July 1st, 3000. Members, any comments? Seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote.
Thank you, Chair. Voting on House Bill 2165, Chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments. Chair and Vice Chair vote aye. Representative Garrett?
Aye.
Representative Capella?
Aye.
Representative Fong?
Aye.
Representative Reyes-Oda?
Reservations.
Reservations. Thank you, Chair. Recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. Next, we'll be moving on to HB 2324 relating to Hawaii Occupational Safety and Health Law. We'll add clarifying amendments to remove the term hoisting machine from the rest of HRS. We'll be adding technical amendments needed for clarity, consistency, and style to adopt these recommendations. And then we'll be inserting a effective date of July 1st, 3000. Members, any comments? Seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote.
Thank you, Chair. Voting on House Bill 2324, Chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments. Are there any no votes? Reservations? Thank you, Chair. Recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. Moving on to HB 2271, making emergency appropriations for public employment cost items. We'll be inserting a defective date of July 1st, 3000, inserting the money amount when BNF gets back to us later on. Okay, members, any comments? Seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote.
Thank you, Chair. Voting on House Bill 2271, Chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments. Are there any no votes? Reservations? Thank you, Chair. Recommendation has been adopted.
Thank you. Moving on to HB 2272, making emergency appropriations for public employment cost items. We'll be adopting the same amendments, just inserting effective date July 1st, 3000. And just to clarify, we'll be inserting the, it probably won't be our committee, maybe by the time this bill gets into finance, they could insert the money amount from BNF. But for now, we'll just keep this vehicle moving with the defective date. Members, any comments? Seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote.
Thank you, Chair. Voting on House Bill 2272, Chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments. Are there any no votes? Reservations? Thank you, Chair. Recommendation has been adopted.
Thank you. HB 2273, making emergency appropriations for public employment cost items. Again, inserting effective date July 1st, 3000. Members, any comments? Seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote.
Thank you, Chair. Voting on House Bill 2273, recommendation is to pass with amendments. Are there any no votes? Reservations? Thank you, Chair. Recommendation has been adopted.
Thank you. Next one, we'll be moving on to HB 1661 related to cafeteria plans. We'll be adopting some of the HERD's amendments, removing the term inflation adjusted on page 1, striking for the calendar year phrase on page 1 as well. And in the committee report, we'll recommend the effective date be July 1st, 2027, and we'll insert a effective date of July 1st, 3000. Members, any comments? Seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote.
Thank you, Chair. Voting on House Bill 1661, Chair's recommendation is to pass with amendments. Any no votes? Reservations? Thank you, Chair. Recommendation has been adopted.
Moving on to HB 1659 relating to collective bargaining, we'll be adopting HGEA amendments to include language on page 2, line 5, unless the collective bargaining agreement specifically provides otherwise. We'll also be inserting defective date of July 1st, 3000. Members, any comments? Okay, seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote.
Thank you, Chair. Voting on House Bill 1659, recommendation is to pass with amendments. Any no votes? Reservations? Thank you, Chair. Recommendation has been adopted.
Thank you. Next, we have HB 1655 relating to public employment. We'll be inserting a defective date of July 1st, 3000. Members, any comments? Vice Chair for the vote.
Thank you, Chair. Voting on House Bill 1655, recommendation is to pass with amendments. Any no votes? Reservations? Thank you, Chair. Recommendation has been adopted.
Thank you. Moving on to HB 1658 relating to collective bargaining. We'll be replacing 150 days to 90 days on page 5, line 18. We'll insert 10 days for a blank portion of page 7, line 7. We'll be adding technical amendments needed for clarity, consistency, and style. And finally, inserting a defective date of July 1st, 3000. Members, any comments? Seeing none, Representative Reyes-Oda.
Just for continuing conversation moving forward, maybe consider from a single arbitrator to potentially a 3-person panel.
Okay, thank you. Members, any further comments? Seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote.
Thank you, Chair. Voting on House Bill 1658, recommendation is to pass with amendments. Any no votes? Reservations? Thank you, Chair. Recommendation has been adopted.
Thank you. Moving on to HB 1664 relating to the Hawaii Employer Union Health Benefit Trust Fund. We'll be inserting a effective date of July 1st, 3000. Members, any comments? Seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote.
Thank you, Chair. Voting on House Bill 1664, recommendation is to pass with amendments. No votes? Reservations? Thank you, Chair. Recommendation has been adopted.
Thank you. Moving on to HB 1656 relating to indebtedness to the state. We'll be inserting the effective date of July 1st, 3000 for this measure. Members, any comments? Seeing none, members, Vice Chair for the vote.
Thank you, Chair. Voting on House Bill 1656, recommendation is to pass with amendments. No votes? Reservations? Thank you, Chair. Recommendation has been adopted.
Thank you. Next, we have HB 1654 relating to public employees. For this, we'll be adopting AG's amendments to delete subsection F and amend subsection E to insert proposed language on page 2 of AG's written testimony. This will place the responsibility to notify law enforcement upon the complainant rather than the AG in instances of danger and personal harm. We'll be amending section H to replace shall with may. Note in the committee report that the effective date should be July 1st, 2027, as well as putting in a defective date of July 1st, 3000. Members, any comments? Seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote.
Thank you, Chair. Voting on House Bill 1654, recommendation is to pass with amendments. Are there any no votes? Reservations? Chair, your recommendation has been adopted.
Thank you. Next, we have HB 1663 relating to reimbursement of public officers and employees. We'll be adopting some of SBO's recommended amendments. We'll be replacing language on page 3, lines 13 to 17 with detailed expenditure and related receipts. We'll be adding the same language at the end of subsection H on page 4, line 17. We'll add language on page 4, line 7 to read through no fault of their own. We'll add language on page 4, lines 12 to read with detailed expenditures and related receipts on the authorized portion of the travel only. Add the term approved before the phrase total cost on page 4, lines 13 and 16. Adding technical amendments needed for clarity, consistency, and style, and insert defective date on July 1st, 3000. Members, any comments? Seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote.
Thank you, Chair. Voting on House Bill 1663, recommendation is to pass with amendments.
Thank you.
Any no votes? Reservations? Thank you, Chair. Recommendation has been adopted.
Thank you. Moving on to HB 1791 relating to warehouse workers. My recommendation is to defer this measure, noting the concerns that were brought up by DLIR in their testimony. Members, any comments? Seeing none, we'll be moving on to the last item in the agenda, HB 2587 relating to labor. I'll be inserting a defective date of July 1st, 3000. Members, any comments?
Oh, sir.
Yes, Representative Kong.
I guess you know that I used to own a florist, and we use private contractors to deliver, especially during the holidays and all kinds of times. So this will put actually a very rough strain on me to have them as an employee receiving benefits. So I'll go with reservations.
Appreciate that. Members, any other comments? Seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote.
Thank you, Chair. Voting on House Bill 2587, recommendation is to pass with amendments. Are there any no votes? Are there any reservations outside of Representative Kong?
Reservations.
Reservations for Representative Kong and Representative Reyes-Oda. Thank you, Chair. Recommendation has been adopted.
Thank you. This hearing is adjourned.